All right. This is for Rajiv Alvares. And so basically, the kind of concept here is kind of a space station. So the first thing that I would say right off the bat is from a visual standpoint, you probably want to, you've got some atmospheric perspective in the back, but I think you can push it a little bit more. So I think pushing in, I'm just going to grab some of this stuff here. So I think pushing in something like this here, let's grab that, and let's layer via copy, and we're just going to adjust the levels here. So do you see how by pushing that just a hair darker really pushes the sense of foreground activity now? And then on top of that, what we can do is, you've got this nice sense of, your basic rocks and things like that, and I think that works well. But the problem you have is that it's very monotone, photographic almost, if that makes sense. And so what I would tell you to do is I would say to kind of start adding in a little bit more blues. And let me do a let's try a color balance once here. So if we go on our shadows here and we just add in a little bit more blues, do you see how that pops a little bit more? Um, we can even pull out some of these reds a little bit more, and I think that makes the entire scene as a whole pop a little bit more. The other thing I would say right off the bat is everything's very balanced, and I think as a creator, you want to stay away from that balanced level. And so what we're just going to do is we're just going to copy some of this out here. But the oops. So the thing that I would say is that you want to definitely kind of break apart your level. And so what I'm going to do is we're just going to grab this and we're going to subtract some of these tonal values here. Okay, and let's get rid of these little pieces. Okay, so, and let's copy that as another layer. And then I'm going to break apart final layer here. And we're just going to do something like this. And let's grab that. And subtract. Let me subtract this stuff real quick here. Okay. And go back to my lasso. Just make sure that's all pieced together in there. Okay, so and we'll copy that layer here. Okay, so if you notice right now, everything is super balanced. Everything's got this very central. You've got one line here, one line here, one line here. This is almost centered down the middle here. So it's very symmetrical and very balanced, and that's okay. But I think a little bit more dynamic composition would kind of work off a little bit better, especially since and then this is almost centered here. This subtle area. So I think that's one of the things that you want to really look at and decide how in depth you want this. And what I would do to kind of piece this together, I would just say, okay, here's the rule of thirds, and I don't use the golden rule because it just doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't feel good for me. But so the rule of thirds here basically says, okay, if I move some of this stuff a little bit differently, um, we can make things work a little bit more. So instead, let's move this over here, all right, and then let's move this piece, and I'm just going to move it up over here, and I'm just going to use the crop of this. So I'm just going to grab this here, and I'm just going to kind of clone like so. Let's grab an eraser brush, and let me just kind of erase this out. And we're going this one here, and I'm just gonna soft brush this out. So we'll just add some of that color in, and I'm just gonna kind of round some of that stuff out here. Okay, so do you see? And it's very subtle, but I'll get the clone stamp in here real quick, and let's grab some of this. Oops. Make sure we use all layers. And I'm going to just work on this mid-tone here. And I know it's kind of rough here, but I'm just kind of pasting some of this stuff in here. And let's change my hardness back. Give me a smaller brush to play with here. I'm just going to clean this up. Okay. And then we're going to take this here, and I'm just going to pound some of that out real quick here. So we're just going to erase some of that. All right. And so let's line this up a little bit again. Put in, let's just put something like this here. And it's okay to have some of these, like, duplicate the repetition here. Because what's happening is with the repetition, it's basically giving you this sense of flow. And so what I can do here is take this, and let's blend some of that out here. So, and then let's do just a kind of a rock face up here, and that'll point a little bit more. Okay, so now you see you've got kind of this repetition thing going on here. You've got, it's, I think, a little bit better in the composition aspect. We're just going to go here. And something like that. Okay, so now with this layout here, you've got a little bit more to kind of draw the eye. You know, it basically steps you back and forth. So looking at this composition now, you've got a sense of how this, you know, it's a little bit more off balance, but it still works pretty well. You've got and I'm just gonna draw a new layer here. So you've got the let's go color that'll show here. So you've got your skyline, which is drawing towards the tower, and that's good. You've got your road that leads to the tower, and that's good. This blocks off here, and then this comes back into here. So you're drawing the eye still towards that tower, and even this creates a line towards the tower. So the tower is still my focal point, but it's off-centered. And I think that's really more what you want to do and go with. So now we look at it, and I'm just going to grab that in there with these colors. So now we look at it, and we've got a little bit more rich and vibrant colors going on. We've got a scene that draws the eye a little bit more, and you know, it draws the eye a little bit more, and basically we've got that sense of how things are created. So this to this, and I could probably grab that image yet and put that back in there of that planet. You know, and that's actually pretty simple to do. I can just grab a layer back here. Let's layer this here. And we can actually just add in, and I'm just going to add in some of your planet stuff here. Very simple. and just that rounded form. Grab that bright color there. Okay, and just that simple form, that subtle verity that you've got going on, really is going to help your situation. So I think that now you've got like deeper blues, richer colors in there versus this where it's kind of bleached out. And I understand you want to get a high sun, a high contrast, but without those darks in there, you're not going to get that high contrast. So I hope that helps.